You hear that? The boar. Harness the inner boar. Hey everybody, welcome to Bloodstreams, the show that dissects horror movies that you can stream right now. On today's episode, we will be doing the spoiler review of the Shudder exclusive Boar. Real quick, if you haven't seen our previous episode, pause this video, open up a new link, and go check it out, because we're going to be getting into some spoilery goodness. Alright, let's get on with it. That was Boar, the Shudder exclusive. So, what is Boar about exactly? I don't think anybody really knows, including the writers. And I want to bring this up.
I mean, you know what it's kind of about.
Yeah, well,
not specifics.
Not specific. Well, yeah, but no, that's the thing. When a movie's about something, you actually do have to get into specifics because otherwise, it's not really about anything. Yeah, now this was taken. This was taken from IMDb. Mm-hmm. So if you know, like when you look at IMDb or like you go on Netflix or Shudder and it tells you what the movie is about, it's a log line, right? Yeah. And it's supposed to sum up the entire movie, what it's about, in like 1 or 2 sentences.
Yeah,
right?
This does not do that.
Okay, so in the harsh yet beautiful Australian outback lives a beast, an animal of staggering size with a ruthless, driving need for blood and destruction. It cares for none, defends its territory with brutal force, and kills with a raw, animalistic savagery unlike any have seen before.
So that's a great summary of the bad guy of this movie.
What the hell's the movie about? I mean, is it about a family that has a picnic from hell in the Australian outback when they get plagued and terrorized by this gigantic prehistoric boar?
That's a movie I want to see. Picnic from Hell.
Picnic, yeah, exactly. That's my biggest problem with the movie is it doesn't know what it is.
Well, I mean, it does know what it is. I mean, it's about a family who is traveling through the outback, visiting relatives.
Doesn't say that, right?
No, obviously it doesn't say that. But after watching the movie, I can tell you what it's about. It's about a family visiting their extended family in the outback. And there just so happens to be a monster boar that lives out there killing people.
Which is weird, though, because, like, the way it's presented... This is another problem, is, like, the structure of this movie is just cattywampus.
Yeah,
which
totally
I think is an Australian word. Mm-hmm. So, it sounds like,
Yeah, that's the technical term for a baby dingo.
I must have used it out of context. The structure's all over the place. Because we don't really even get to know this family until way too late. All these fodder kills that we don't really get to know, like, what this movie's about. Who's it about? Like, all of a sudden, we'll all of a sudden meet an interesting character like John Jarratt and we didn't put his name down, but he's
the guy who plays his best friend.
The guy who plays his best buddy,
who's also fantastic.
Who's in the first Mad Max? I read that.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. He's been around for a while, and he's fantastic. Real great character actor. Dang it, we should have put his name down. Oh well. We meet them like right after the cold open. Right, which should we talk about the cold open? Okay. See, okay, I'm just going to sum it up for you. 2 people driving, nighttime,
obviously some sort
outback,
of camping trip.
Lots of boars, scared of something. Big scary noise. Car gets run up the road. They're dead. Right?
Yeah, but they dodge a rabbit while they're driving, and I wouldn't even say car runs off the road. They're dead because we don't see.
Gets like hit by something.
You don't even see that.
You
just see the POV of something with weird glowy vision.
Yeah, which something failed.
We'll get into. I don't get that.
Yeah,
but he's got weird glowy vision and it rams the side of the car, and then it cuts to Boar, the title card.
Right. You could tell like they were wanting to like do like the Jaws cold open, which is a brilliant cold open. You don't see the monster. You don't see the shark.
But what was brilliant about the Jaws cold open? You don't see the shark, but you see what it's doing.
Right.
At least.
Yeah,
whereas
absolutely.
in this cold open, you don't see what it's doing. That could have just been someone tripping with a camera into a car.
Right.
You have no idea.
Totally. But we get to meet John Jarratt, Ken, who's a great character, and John Jarratt he
really does knock it out of the park.
Phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
And then we kind of like we end up going to this weird like cut away to some random like rancher at night, and his dog's missing, and he ends up getting killed. Doesn't go anywhere.
That's what we were talking about in the last episode. Yeah. That's what should have been the opening of the movie, is the rancher scene, because at least then you see a bit of the boar. They don't reveal the boar the whole way. They do it really well. This sequence, like the way he dies, everything is done really well without
good gore.
Seeing it.
You just see the hairy chin,
hairy chin come into shot. Yeah. So if they just would have put that at the beginning, it would have been so much better.
Yeah, and it would have freed up a little bit of space to like actually
get to know
like,
the main characters.
Like I didn't know who I was following until probably like 20 minutes into the film. Right? Yeah. Well, at least it felt like 20 minutes.
And then they introduce this family. They're driving through the outback. Bill Moseley's the stepdad. Yeah. Like they set up the family dynamic. But I feel like even before then, we meet the pub owner daughter, Ken's daughter. We do meet her. She's kind of a non-character throughout the whole thing. There's no real point to her character until the end.
There is. She's a device.
She's a device. Yeah. Which I'm not a huge fan of.
I hate that.
But once we get into the family, the road trip that they're on, the dynamic between all of them, I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
And
I wanted more of it.
Exactly. It kept cutting to fodder, like the camping. There's these camping people and all that shit. And every time it cut away the fodder to get these random death scenes, I was like, this is fun, but I kind of want to know what's going on with this family. They're all so good, and they all have such a good chemistry with each other. Let's stick with this and maybe try and find a way to have the horror hit the family as opposed to hitting everything but the family till about 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Right, till like basically the third act almost, right?
The family ends up meeting up with the mother's brother, who is played by Nathan Jones.
Who's great.
Who is fantastic. I mean, this guy's introduction is the best. This guy's 6'11", pure muscle, and the first thing you see is him feeding this baby goat and giggling to himself. And I'm like, okay,
it's cute.
This guy's amazing.
Yeah, he's awesome. Very intimidating, man, but that's what's so cool. That's what I did like about this movie, is they took all these, like, intimidating actors, right? Actors that are known for being bad guys and the scary guys, and made them sweethearts.
Yeah, like Bill Moseley, John Jarratt. They're playing characters that they don't normally play.
At least I don't get to see it. Yeah,
at least something that I haven't seen before. Where Bill Moseley's playing the caring, totally sane, totally straightforward, normal stepfather, and he just cares about his family. And there's a great scene between him and Hugh Sheridan where he's like, "If you're gonna marry my stepdaughter, I want you to know, like, I look at her as a daughter," and all that stuff. Like, he does it really well. John Jarratt, when he discovers dead bodies, like. It's so weird seeing this guy who's like the most terrifying killer of Australian torture porn, essentially.
Right.
And seeing him having these reactions to these dead bodies that is just so opposite of what you would normally.
Yeah.
And he even looks like his character from Wolf Creek, which I thought was very clever.
I said he's almost wearing the same wardrobe.
But then suddenly you see him going like, "Oh, these poor children," and I gotta find their, I gotta let them, like, it's just, it was really well done. I loved what they did with the casting and the characters.
And I feel like. They spent the first half of the movie. This is not an over exaggeration. I don't think it's like the first half of the movie. It's like they're trying to set up these characters that they're actually doing a good job. We're liking these characters.
Oh yeah, but
they're not in any jeopardy at all. It's random people.
It's random people that are in jeopardy
that just show up and then they get killed and they're gone. And I feel like. Even bad horror movies from the 70s and 80s, that some of them turned out to be classics.
Yeah.
But the fodder characters, and I think you said this in the last episode, that they're at least set up to a point,
and then brought back later to become the fodder.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly.
They're not just fodder in their first scene. Not a lot of time. I mean, a lot of movies do that.
It does happen, but I don't like it as much when that happens. And I think you're allowed. Like a couple, especially like one in the beginning, like in the cold open, like we don't have time to get to know these people. No. We know they're gonna die, but do your best though to in those 5 minutes, to give the audience something so that we either hate the character or like the character. It's easy to make someone hate somebody or like somebody just on a simple action. Like, give us that.
Yeah, like
they didn't do that.
The campers. There's these two campers. They're it's the stereotypical horror trope. The dude wants to get laid. The girl's like,
"I'll only have sex with you if you go and check that no one's there and you get me a drink and then maybe we'll get lucky."
And then the guy goes out, and you hear these noises, and then the boar attacks the tent.
The guy's around for so long that he didn't even get his own piece of coverage, right? Like, I only know what the profile of that man's face looks
exactly.
Like. I don't even know what his...
gnarly tattoo, though.
Yeah, you definitely recognize
his tattoo artist should be proud. It's a cool tattoo. But, so the boar attacks the girl in the tent, right? And that sequence is done really well.
What they a big problem with this movie is that they didn't know how much of the boar to show when. Like, there's sometimes where you see the whole thing, and it's like the CGI thing, and you're just going like, oh, really? That's all it is?
If you, like...
You know, and then sometimes
Thank God Jaws wasn't made in the days of CG, because when that shark broke, they were like, well, we gotta figure out a different way to shoot it.
You know what? That's funny you mention that. I was thinking the exact same thing when we were watching the movie. I'm going like, man, Jaws would have been totally killed if they had CG, because they would have used it.
Although, who knows? Deep Blue Sea was a pretty badass movie. Big problem for me, though, is when John Jarratt and his friends show up and they find these dead campers, right?
Right.
They notice another tent, which has not been set up. He finds an ID.
It was set up. Yeah,
you're right.
She was like, make sure they're not there.
They're not watching or listening or whatever. So he finds an ID that says like Matthew on it and checks with the dead bodies, and it's not one of those dead bodies. And then, so that's our way to introduce more fodder. Cut to the middle of the woods at night, and these two people are like, maybe we should get back to the camping site. And it's like, where the hell did you guys go?
Yeah, and then they like waste their time like talking about this like aboriginal
that has nothing to do with anything.
Got nothing to do with anything. And it's just like, man, like, I don't know who the hell these people are. I'm struggling enough at this point because you keep introducing new characters that aren't going to go anywhere. I'm struggling enough to like remember who I should be caring about. Like, who am I following here? And this is what I was talking about earlier, is that the film doesn't know what it's about. It's just kind of like going. Yeah. It's just going, and we got like, well, this character, we'll probably keep him alive, and then the family, well, we got to keep a family alive, right? It's going to be, but is it about the family? Because we haven't really, we've only seen him once.
Yeah, at this point, we've only seen the family once in a really good scene that makes you go, oh, I kind of wish we could stick with these people.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, one of my favorite death scenes is with these particular fodder. The girl and the boyfriend that are hiking in the middle of the night. Yeah. The boar ends up sticking its big tooth right through the back, and it goes through her mouth. Yeah. And that was done really, really well. And then picks her up, and she's like shaking her body around, and that's all done.
And then eventually he's got like another tooth.
And it looks amazing.
It was great. I mean, there was one shot where it's shaking her around, where it's like, that's obviously a dummy. But
yeah, but it didn't matter because
it was cool,
just man. Like, oh, this looks really cool.
It was cool because there's other deaths that happen later where they're like, what? They didn't use the dummy, and they use like they CGI'd the actor. Yeah. And it looks way worse than the dummy, in my opinion.
So that girl gets it, you think. We don't really see what happens to the boyfriend until John Jarratt shows back up. Yeah. And he's like, he finds this girl who's somehow still alive. I'll buy it. It's a B horror movie. Adrenaline does some crazy things. Yeah. Like, people have survived some weird stuff. She got a tooth through the back of her head that goes through her mouth and shaking up all of those broken.
and then another one through her guts. Yeah. I mean, her spine's definitely broken.
But somehow she's alive. He's tending to her, looking for the boyfriend, and then the boar ends up killing him off camera, which I think if you've got an actor like John Jarratt and you're going to give him a death scene, do the honor of giving him
there's like a little build up too, like where he's like he's brave, and the boar comes back and he's like, I'm going to chase it. I'm going to run away and lure it away.
I'm going to be a hero.
And he does, and he circles back and he gets her, and he's got his knife too, and
the Bowie knife.
Yeah, the big old Bowie knife, and then he just gets backed up against a tree.
And a POV camera, which, let's talk about this POV.
Yeah, can we talk about the POV camera?
I'm tired of, like, okay, Evil Dead, that POV to Ramocam, that works. When you, for some reason, like, if you're not going to bring a supernatural element into this, Big Boar, to me, does not mean supernatural. It just means it's a really big boar. Whenever they cut to the POV, it's got this weird, like, glowing point of view, and I'm like, is this an alien? Like, why does it do boars?
Like Predator
Comment down below if boars have, like, this weird night vision glowing eye stuff.
Do we know?
I don't think they do.
Anybody
but I'm also really lazy, so I didn't check.
Yeah, well, scientists cared enough to check, like, what does it look like from a boar's point of view? I don't know.
I figured it's more like a dog. It's probably just black and white, and they don't understand words.
Maybe.
You know?
I don't know.
But anyway, this glowing orange POV kills John Jarratt off camera, and I wasn't down with that.
I mean, I think the POV is definitely an homage to a lot of the creature features. Like, the two that come to mind that it did really work because they found an interesting way of doing it was Predator.
Well, Predator,
right? He's got
heat vision.
And that's dope.
That's cool.
That's dope.
That's really cool.
It just looks great. Although I would have loved to have seen, like, have you seen that, like, meme online where the dude's at it's in a heat vision or kind of camera, and he's peeing and then, like, he sneezes and farts and you see the fart come out.
Oh yeah, I've seen heat vision or thermocam. That's what it's called. Thermocam farts. I mean, everyone's seen.
But
those,
it's funny because he sneezes and it just like pushes it out, and he's still peeing.
Fart out.
Anyway, I would have loved to have seen that in Predator, but that's not what we're talking about here. Another movie that I think I don't know if it invented it, but man, it really brought it back.
Used it a lot.
It used it a lot was Jaws.
Jaws did it perfectly.
But it worked because it's underwater. Nobody else is underwater.
Yeah, no one else is underwater. And every time they use the POV, you see what the shark is doing above the surface. What, like, in the beginning, the POV goes up to the legs, but then when they're at the top of the water, she's being dragged back and forth. You see that the shark is doing something. In this, it was always POV runs up to something, and then someone off in the outback hears a distant scream.
Yep.
You know, like, that
failed.
Definitely bothered me.
And not to mention, it just looked cheesy.
Yeah, but then eventually we get back to this family, and you're like, oh, good. Okay, the family's back. Yeah. I'm enjoying I like it. I liked the death scenes, but this family was interesting enough for me to go, I would rather just spend time with this family.
Yeah.
You got the teenage son, you got the teenage daughter and her boyfriend. Bill Moseley's the stepdad who's trying to, he's been with the family, but he obviously still doesn't feel comfortable, totally comfortable, especially with the boyfriend.
Well,
he gives the boyfriend the pep talk.
He's kind of a pushover.
He's totally a pushover.
Everyone kind of walks on him.
And then the brother-in-law, though, is that he hears that John Jarratt's character's gone missing, so while they're at this swimming hole, he's like, I'm gonna go check on him. That was a really good Australian accent. Pretty sure.
Or Dutch, I don't know. But anyway, go on.
Well, they're very similar.
Yeah, they're practically the same people. Practically the same place, Australia and Dutchland.
In Dutchland. So he goes off, and there's an amazing scene where he's driving through the outback listening to Vanilla Ice, and I'm like, man, this character's just the best. Like, he knows every word to Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah, that was a great movie. That was a great moment because it was totally endearing.
Yeah, and then the boar comes out of nowhere, knocks over the thing, and the Bill Moseley and his stepdaughter's boyfriend Hugh Sheridan are on this walk, and he says
they've gone walkabout, which is not something city people should do.
You don't do that in the outback.
Oh man,
honestly, I've talked to Australians. They're like, if you want to stay alive, just stay in the city.
Hey man, I've never met an Australian in my life, but I've seen Crocodile Dundee. Crocodile.
I know for a fact you've met one Australian.
I've actually known several Australians, and honestly, Australians are my favorite people in the world. I'm not gonna lie, like they're the best.
I get why they're getting all the American roles. I just get it. I'm gonna say that right now.
Yeah,
they're better at American accents. They're great looking.
They are pretty,
and they're nice.
Yeah. Yeah, you won me over. Okay, so you've kind of led us up to a point where I'd like to jump in here because we're at a point now where I think this is one of the glaring issues with the film. Because of all the pointless fodder, we're still learning who these people are, and then they get taken out.
Yeah,
like right then and there. Like,
I do like the way Bill Moseley gets taken out. Not necessarily the CG effects of it, but I like. How he gets is this guy who's been tough the whole time. The boyfriend, when he sees the boar, just pushes Bill Moseley down and runs away. He hasn't even
really been tough though. He's just been a jerk, and he just continues to.
No, but he talks about how brave he is, how strong he is, how good of he's just this man's man. They talk about that. Oh yeah, you must have been zoning out.
No,
they talk about that a lot in the first scene when they're having lunch with the thing, and they're talking about the shooting. He's like, I
can shoot.
I can do all this. I'm a man.
Like,
he's being tough and macho the whole time.
Yeah.
And then when it comes time to be macho, he just pushes Bill Moseley down and runs.
Yeah. Which, to me, this is where, it just totally fucked. Because they did spend some time setting up these characters, only just to have them wasted.
Yeah.
And if they would have gotten rid of some of the pointless fodder, that honestly, some of it was good, but some of it was all of it was totally pointless.
Yeah.
We could have dedicated a little more time to figuring out who these people are,
yeah.
And then they could have maybe had a chance to have some kind of arc.
I mean, yeah, the youngest son had nothing of a part.
Nothing. There was no part for the youngest son.
Oh, he was a device for the end too, though. Somehow, like, that part really made me mad.
Don't get me started on the end of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, so yeah, so then so
Bill Moseley gets a great CG death.
Basically wasted, has a CG death that is very CG.
Yeah, there were a couple shots where I was like, oh, that's cool. But then when they show too much, you're just like, oh, they ruin it with the CG.
They just showed too much of it, and if, I mean, I don't know, if you got 15 million, maybe you can really put some good CG in there, but they just didn't have it.
No.
And they should have relied more on the practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
Show less of the boar, and,
So at this
point, cross your fingers that it works.
Nathan Jones is, we think, out of the picture.
No, Bill Moseley's out of the picture.
No, but Nathan Jones, we think he's already had his car get attacked.
Oh yeah, his car's attacked. Yeah, okay.
And then Hugh Sheridan runs off back to the family, going like, "Run! There's a killer boar!" Right. And what happens after that?
They go they kind of laugh at him because he looks like he's really afraid, and then. One of the many times that this happens, this gigantic dump truck of a boar
is like super ninja
in bright daylight. He's got a cloaking device, and they just I think because maybe they were running out of like runtime, like it was just getting too long. They forgot to set up the cloaking device that the boar has, because this boar that is the size of the dump truck, he's literally a rhino of a boar, just in broad daylight, shows up out of nowhere, just right from off screen,
camera.
And takes fucking Hugh Sheridan away in his mouth. Yeah. And that's the last time we see of him.
Yeah.
So another wasted character that they actually did a pretty good job of, like, at least starting a setup on. Yeah. And
the setup in this movie is great. It's the payoff that has the problem.
Well, but the thing is, like, the setup, it's only like half set up.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, shit, we gotta get on with it. We gotta get on with it. Why? I wonder why. I don't know why we're running out of time here.
Hungry.
Because, I mean, this boar has an appetite that also, but,
I get it. I'm a big guy. I
eat
a lot. I get it. I was sympathetic to the boar when it came to its hunger.
Yeah, I get it. Like, it's a creature feature. The thing likes to eat. You can't look, technically, like, what? Like, when a shark eats, like, it's done for, like, a really long time. I don't know.
I think you're thinking of snakes.
Snakes too, but like sharks, they eat and then they're like, they don't want to bother you. I've heard that. I heard that from a reliable source.
Comment down below if you know anything about sharks, snakes, and boars. We'll listen to it all.
Yeah, we'll read it all. Anyway, yeah. So now we've got mom, we've got daughter, and we've got the son left, and
the son.
Yeah, and
the pointless son. So we find out that Nathan Jones not dead. He was just in a really bad car accident.
And thank God he wasn't dead.
Thank God, because this guy is my favorite character in the movie.
He's so awesome. And like, because in this movie, you never know. And that's another thing that pisses me off, is that I think they were just killing people off because they're like, we don't want you to be able to know who's going to die.
Yeah,
but the thing
is,
it
wasn't properly done.
It just came off cheap.
Yeah.
It came off cheap. I'm sorry.
So he reconvenes with the distraught family, the son, the daughter, and the mother. Obviously distraught because they hear that Bill's dead. They see Hugh die. Mm-hmm. So now they're all together, hiding from the boar. The boar attacks them, gets the son, drags him off. Right? Yeah. He's eating the son's leg, drags them off.
And he's dragged people off before, and we know what that means.
You know what that means. It means they're dead.
They're dead.
They're real dead.
Because there's a lot of deaths in here that we don't get to see. And you just have to assume they're dead.
You just assume they're
dead.
Don't
come back.
So they find this little cabin, this little shed. They hide in the shed. The mom, this is where she actually does her best acting, I think, is when she's screaming at Nathan Jones' character, going like, why didn't you protect him? Because they do set up that he's like protective over this
Yeah, they did. They made a point to set up that he's uber protective over his nephew.
At least they brought up the fact that he didn't do anything to save this person's life.
Yeah, she gets really pissed at him, and it's really authentic and really real.
She's good, and then the boar shows up again, and there's an awesome fight between Nathan Jones and the boar. He gets got in the gut.
Yeah.
They show the gore and all that stuff.
Gut
really
gore.
great gut gore. He's still fighting because he's
Yeah.
Nathan Jones. A gut wound's not going to stop that guy. Are you kidding me? Brick house like that? He's fighting, blah, 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 blah. He ends up getting it. He dies.
Does he?
They don't show it.
He gets stepped on.
He gets stepped on a bunch.
Repeatedly. But man, he does give the boar a
He's
run
the
for his
only one
money.
that actually fights back. You know what another problem is like, this boar's got big old white eyes. And there's so
You got
many...
one eye that works. One eye's dead eye.
But there's so many opportunities. Like, the boar gets up close to them and is like, "Argh," and they just keep punching it in the nose. And I'm like, go for its eyes. What are you doing?
It's got one good eye left.
Just get rid of the eye.
Yeah. Get it.
Don't punch the nose.
Or, you know what I would have liked to have seen? Someone try to ride it.
Yeah, that's what this was missing, is someone just taming the bull. Grabbing the boar by the horns.
By its tusks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor, but I did that once.
I was hoping to see, Nathan Jones get on that damn boar.
And just start singing Vanilla Ice while this, bronco,
just,
riding that bull.
Slapping it. Just be yeah.
So Nathan Jones gets it, we think. I don't know. He got stepped on the back. Seems like a pretty strong guy to survive.
Everyone else in this movie that has been killed off camera has been killed off camera.
Yeah,
so we have to assume.
Which is several people. That's a huge complaint of this movie is like the amount of people that die off camera. When they do show someone die on camera, it's awesome.
It's so good.
But they show a lot of people die off camera. Yeah. So now we're just down to the daughter and the mother. And they're wandering off into the wilderness. For some reason, the mom decides to take a nap. Don't understand while the girl's making these torches because also last minute information, kind of like the way I'm giving out this information. They do it in the movie. They're like, my dead boyfriend saw that there was a documentary where things like this are afraid of fire. Let's try that.
Yeah,
like something.
And thank God Uncle Bernie happened to find that red lighter in the grass and give it to him.
Yeah,
thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Because it's not like he was a smoker.
No, he wasn't a smoker.
No, that man's healthy.
So mom takes a nap. While the daughter's making it. Like, her husband and her son and her brother have just been killed. And she takes a nap.
She's exhausted.
So, lo and behold, the boar shows up. Because it's the outback isn't big enough.
And it's our only villain, so we need somebody to show up, right?
We need someone to show up at this point. They try the fire. That doesn't really work. Because this boar ain't afraid of no torches.
Come on. Man, come on. I've been shot in the face.
Yeah.
I've been shot in the face a couple of times now, and I'm not afraid of a
I've been stabbed in the mouth with a Bowie knife. You think fire's gonna scare me?
Yeah, some gigantic 6'11" man punched me in the nose.
No, I stood on his back till he died off camera. I don't know if he's dead.
Is he dead?
And then okay, so what happens after that? After they face the boar?
Well, I mean, it just seems like all is definitely lost.
Yeah, how are these two people going to fight this boar?
Uncle Bernie, who's 6'11", he's an ex-WWE star.
He couldn't do it.
I mean, frickin'
John Jarratt couldn't do it.
John Jarratt couldn't do it, and he was in Wolf Creek.
Yeah,
he's a psychopath.
That guy's a nutcase.
Yeah, so these girls are basically dead, but then all of a sudden these headlights show up.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Could that be the? There's only one person left who hasn't died yet.
Who is also a couple minutes earlier gone, I'm going to go check on them.
I'm going to go check on them. It's the pub owner. It's Ken's son, or daughter.
Yeah.
John Jarrett's daughter.
Yeah.
She's like, you know what? I'm going to go out. Somebody watch the bar for me. I'm going to go out and I'm going to go check on him. Doesn't know anything about the family, actually, to be honest. She only knows about her dad.
She's looking for her dad.
She's looking for her dad. Headlights show up and then this truck just flies off an embankment,
goes through trees,
and crashes into the boar, and the boar gets messed up. I was like, that's how you take out a boar.
That was the one realistic part of this movie. Is like, you get hit by a truck like that, you could be fucked up.
It's gonna hurt, and the boar is hurt.
And the boar is hurt. Although, thank God that woman somehow lost control, flew off an embankment, went through the trees, and landed in the boar.
Yeah,
because how she knew that they were there, no idea.
Yeah, when mom and daughter come around to check on the driver, it's pretty obvious that that wasn't intentional.
She did not mean to do that.
That wasn't intentional. She lost control of that truck, flew off an embankment, and wow, man, was that a lucky shot.
Yeah.
Right?
And then they pull a shotgun out of the truck.
Yeah.
And essentially, the mom shoots, the boar's not dead. Shoots again,
No, the pub owner, instead of like taking the gun out of
her gun, like, what the fuck are you doing? Shoot like this, bitch.
Yeah. She's like, no,
just this, aim like this, aim it,
breathe.
It's a good time for a gun lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
So mom ends up shooting the boar in the face.
Right in the eye, in the bad eye.
In the bad eye. Always aim for the good eye, in my opinion. But the boar dies. And then something comes out of the darkness.
What is it?
What is it?
Oh,
it's Nathan Jones.
And
we didn't see die off camera.
Yeah.
So that part was like, okay, I can buy that.
Yeah.
But then he's got the teenage boy who we saw his leg getting chomped on and ripped off camera and screams and all this stuff.
It's a happy day.
It's a happy day. It reminded me a lot of Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, where the kid is in the giant explosion, but somehow he saves the day at the end.
Yeah.
You're just like, what the? Like,
but that's the thing. They don't even come back to save the day.
No, they just come back up after the monster's dead.
Guess what? We're still alive.
Thank God you killed that thing
for us. Yeah, right. Because we were really worried. His leg's all messed up. My guts are falling out.
Yeah.
I did not want to fight that boar again. I did not want to
do that.
Yeah.
So, and then as they get in the truck, which is still running, even though it's gone through trees and all that stuff, they drive off, and another giant boar sticks its head into
the same giant boar.
Oh, I saw it as a different boar.
No, it's the same giant boar. That giant boar is a zombie boar, and we're going to learn about it in the sequel.
That giant boar is a zombie boar.
Yeah. It's a zombie boar, because, I mean, I was saying it the entire time. He's got, like, gigantic pieces of flesh missing. He's bleeding all over.
Cataract.
Like, there's something up with that boar. He's not just a normal giant boar.
You know what? It sounds, though, like we've been shitting on this movie a lot, and we have.
Yeah.
We've been taking big old dumps all over it. But I also, at the same time, really liked this movie.
Yeah, well, because, like, name one, like, truly B creature feature. That doesn't have a shitload of problems.
Yeah, I love Sharknado, so
right. Like, I mean,
this movie's an Oscar winner compared to Sharknado.
But here's the difference: is that Sharknado knew exactly what it was from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. It never pretended to be anything different. This movie, like, found its way going into like these great camp moments, and then decided to go very serious
for certain moments that didn't necessitate.
Yeah,
serious.
They had really good moments of character setup, and then just were like, no, we just don't have time for that because we got to kill random people that nobody cares about.
Yeah,
and so that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, the filmmakers, it seems to me, they didn't know what they wanted the movie to be.
Or if they did know, the 17 to 50 executive producers didn't agree. On what this movie should be.
And they probably all had their own little pieces of input.
We know what goes into getting a movie made. And sometimes you go, well, if I'm going to get my movie made, I'm just going to say yes to all of these people because they're the ones putting in the money.
They're putting in the money.
And sometimes that leads to 15 different points of view, giving 15 different ideas that you somehow have to incorporate into one movie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
That could be the case. We don't know.
Don't know. But that's what it seemed like. When you see the credits and there's over 10 executive producers on this.
That's what it looked like, yeah.
You're just like, how many executive producers?
So many I didn't care to count.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. I liked it a lot more than The Perfection.
Would you see it again?
You know what? I would if I had like friends who had never seen it and they really wanted to see it, and we had beers and popcorn and pizza, and it was just like a hangout. Yeah, I'd put it on again for sure.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be like, oh no, this movie sucks, don't watch it. I'd be like, oh, this is a good one to have on in the background again, like as a second viewing.
I always feel like this is on Shudder, which has so many good horror movies.
Oh yeah,
I mean it's. I mean, why didn't
we
have this when we were kids?
I'm not saying I wouldn't recommend another. Movie.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like if somebody was like, they haven't seen Boar yet, I'd be like, let's try and find something else. Honest, even with the beers and friends, I would be. It just because if you want to see a campy movie, we'll find a better campy movie. If you want to see a serious horror movie, we'll find a better serious movie. This movie doesn't know which one it is.
Yeah, I still enjoyed it. I mean, I have a lot of problems with it, but I still liked it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, there are moments that are fun.
I don't wish I didn't see the movie.
No, I wouldn't want to like take my time back. I would. No. I'm glad I see it. I don't think I'd want to see it again.
Yeah.
But I definitely did enjoy it while I was watching it, and that's good. You know.
And since this is our spoiler episode, you guys have definitely seen this movie before. Comment down below. Tell us what you thought of the movie. Tell us where we're wrong, where we're right. Yeah. We like when you tell us we're right.
I mean, I have a sense that I'm being uber critical on this movie, but
it's called Boar.
It's called Boar. But I mean, that does. What does that mean? Though it still could have. If it would have chosen camp or serious, it would have either at least had a chance.
Joe Bob Briggs says that the only problem a movie can have is if it's boring, and I didn't find myself bored in this movie.
Honestly, after the first, maybe after the third pointless fodder kill, I actually did start getting bored.
Did you?
Yeah,
I wasn't bored. I was entertained.
Because I mean, there's only so far that your practical effects can take you.
Yeah,
and they did it. I mean, they did
some
well.
Great stuff.
And then finally, when it did get back to the family, I was a little let down because I feel like half of them just had to be killed off immediately because there was no time.
Yeah, I wish they would have spent a little more time on the family, less on the fodder. But overall, as I said, 7.5 stumps out of 10.
Yeah,
you gave it 6.5.
I gave it 6.5. I'm actually gonna reverse it. I'm gonna reverse it a little bit. I'm gonna go to a 5.1.
This is a first, even though this is our second episode. This is the first that we in the spoil. Talking about the spoilers has actually made you like the movie less.
Yeah, it has actually. I would even though it's a 5.1 though, I would still recommend it.
For people that
but just know what you're getting into. Know that it's got a lot of problems. If you know that it's got a lot of problems, if I knew that it had all the problems going into it, I think I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Anyone going into this movie though, going, Boar, I bet you that's the next Citizen Kane.
No, I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I expected anything. But I just feel like the problems that were there could have so easily been avoided if they just would have went with it. If they would have just went with, this is a movie about a boar killing people in the outback.
Let's have some fun with it.
Let's just have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And they decided
certain elements were just didn't really play with the rest of the.
It could have been a lot better because the stuff that was good was shining. It was really good.
Yeah, the stuff that was good was better than stuff in most movies.
Yeah.
And then it had stuff that was not as good as stuff in most movies.
Eloquently put.
Check it out for yourselves. Although you know the whole story now, so it's kind of pointless.
Hopefully you've already seen it.
I hope you've seen it. If you haven't, did we do a good job describing it? I don't know.
Did he do a good job forming that sentence?
No, probably not, Rose. Anyway, all right, it's time for the outro, Sam.
We should just get a guy to do it.
Yeah, like that guy on SNL.
Dallas Raines would be good.
On tonight's episode, Hootie and the Blowfish!
Well, that's our spoiler review for Boar. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, if you're in the mood for some new horror that you might not have seen, you should check out our channel. We actually make our own horror stuff. Some short films, some grisly, ghouly little featurettes that we're pretty proud of, so we'd love for you to check it out. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, murder that notification bell. This is me, I'm strangling, or no, I'm cutting a throat. This is the bell, and it's the throat, cutting it. Murder it! We'll see you next week.